Yahudah going to say, he's telling Yahushua, do you not know what my two brothers, Simeon and Louis, did unto the city of Shechem and unto the 7 cities of the Amorites on account of our sister Dinah? Dinah, was their only sister, and her name meant judgment. This is what her name meant. So they brought judgment unto Shechem and the other 7 cities. He says, and also what they would do for the sake of their brother Benjamin. So if they killed thousands in Shechem, just 2, they killed thousands. And so he said, imagine, what are we going to do? What are we going to do because of our brother Benjamin? What do you think we're going to do to you because of our brother Benjamin? He says, and I, with my strength. Now, Yahudah knew his strength. Pay attention. I, with my strength, who am greater and mightier than both of them. Listen at what he's saying. He's more mightier, powerful, and stronger than both of them. And there is a reason why. It's not coming out in this message, but I will bring out this reason why and where this might comes from. He says, come this day upon you and your land, if you are not willing to send our brother. All he's asking for is his brother. If you don't send our brother, I'm going to kill you and all the inhabitants. He says, have you not heard what our mighty one who made choice of us, Yahuah made choice of the seed of Yasharal, did unto Pharaoh on account of Sarah, our mother? We know what happened. Whom he took away from our father, that he smote him and his household with heavy plagues, that even unto this day the Egyptians relate this wonder to each other. So will our mighty one do unto you on account of Benjamin, one brother, whom you have this day taken from his father, and on account of the evils which you this day heap upon your land. For our mighty one will remember his covenant with our father Abraham, and bring evil upon you, because you have grieved the soul of our father this day. 8, it says, now therefore hear my words, that I have this day spoken unto you, and send our brother, that he may go away, lest you and the people of this land die by the sword. He's talking about killing all of them. And if you don't let them go, you and your people will die by the sword, for you cannot prevail over me. He's telling them this is without his brothers, what power, what might Yahudah possessed. And he's telling them that what was coming. And of course, Yahushua continued. He went on. This is the same. This is chapter 54 in Joshua and 13. And Yahudah said, Yahuah is witness between us that we have not desired to battle with you. So he's telling them they're not desired to battle with you. Only give us our brother and we will go from you. And Yahushua answered and said, as Pharaoh lived, if all the kings of Canaan came together with you, you should not take him from my hand. This is Yahushua continue on, not allowing him to take him. Okay, this is Joshua and still in 54, 25, and then I'm going to read 28 and 29. And Yahudah said, behold, the fire of Shem burned in my heart. You see, they had a connection. They knew this power. They was in contact with this might and this power. He said, the fire of Shem burned in my heart. Now I will burn all your land with fire. And Yahushua answered and said, surely your sister-in-law Tamar, who killed your son, extinguished the fire of Shechem. And this is Yahushua knowing that story, and he's relating what happened with his sons. 28 and 29. And Yahudah heard this thing. He had exceedingly wroth with anger, burning within him. And there was before him in that place a stone, the weight of which was about 400 shekels. And Yahudah's anger was kindled, and he took the stone in his hand and cast it up into the heavens and caught his with his left hand. Notice, he took the stone with his right hand, cast it up into the air to his left hand, right to left. east to west. This is how they operated. And he placed it afterward under his leg, and he sat upon it with all his strength. And the stone was turned into dust from the force of Yahuah. You talking about power and might? We're seeing it right here in scripture. We're seeing it on down to verse 46. And while they were fleeing, Yahuah and his brother pursued them unto the house of Pharaoh, and they all escaped. The ones that was with Yahuah, they was afraid, and they escaped. And Yahuah again sat before Yahuah and roared at him like a lion. You know, scripture says, who will arouse Yahuah? He roared like a lion and gave a great tremendous shriek at him. And the shriek was heard at a distance, and all the inhabitants of Sukkot heard it. And all Egypt quaked at the sound of the shriek. And also the walls of Egypt and of the land of Goshen fell in from the shaking of the earth. What tremendous might came from the shriek. And Pharaoh also fell from his throne unto the ground. Watch this. And also all the pregnant women of Egypt and Goshen miscarried. He caused the pregnant women to miscarry just because of what came out of his mouth. When we see this, we get an understanding of some of the power and the might Yasharal has. And again, I'm gonna go deeper into this later on to find out where did this come from. When they heard the noise of the shaking, for they were terribly afraid. Of course, they was afraid. They saw and they heard the earthquake. Now, I'm going into Maccabees. Another history lesson here. And this is what our people, they knew this. They understood battle. They understood what happens in battle. They understood what happens before the battle. And they knew who was with them, who was Yasharal, who was one with them, and who was the enemy, and those rebels that turned against them. And that's what we're going to see here. First Maccabees 2:24. Then Malachi saw it. He burned with zeal in his heart. Here's that burning fire. With zeal in his heart was stirred. He gave a vent to the righteous anger, and he ran and killed him upon the altar. Now let me tell you what's going on here. You had these wicked kings coming in with their rules and laws, and they started making sacrifices to another mighty one. And here we see Yasharal, one of Yasharal. You know, some of us will go with the enemy just to save our life. And he was doing this. And anger stirred up in his heart. You see, when he do this, you against the Most High. When you do this, you against Yasharal. And he ran to him upon the altar and killed him. This is what happened to the rebels. This is what our people done to the rebels. Okay, this is First Maccabees again, and this is 1:50. And whoever does not obey the command of the king shall die. Here's the king telling the people. They changed the laws. They're making them eat unclean animals. They have them. You see, verse 49, they forgot the Torah and they changed the ordinance. They forgot to make the people forget the law and change all the ordinance. And they made clean things profane. They made those things that was clean, they made them profane. And his command was, if you don't obey him, you die. So they had a choice, obey the Most High or obey this wicked king. First Maccabees 3:2. All his brothers and all who had joined his father helped him, and they gladly fought for Yasharal. They had to come together and say, what are we going to do about this situation? And a few of them, you always have a few that say, we're not going out like that. They gladly fought for Yasharal and for the causes of the Most High. First Maccabees 3:18, Yahudah replied, it is easy. Watch this. It is easy. We don't understand this, but we need to understand this. It is easy for many to be destroyed by a few. For in the sight of Shamaim, there is no difference between saving by many or by few. This is saying, if you have just a small amount of Yasharal on the same page, you have 1,000 on the same page, you have 5 million enemies It's easy for the Most High to deliver that 5 million into the hand of the 1,000. It's easy. Because why? Because Yahuah is going before this 1,000. First Maccabees 4:58 and 59. There was a great gladness among the people, and the reproach of Gui was removed. So when they done what they supposed to did, they fought for their lives. They fought for what was right. They removed the reproach from Gui. Then Yahudah and his brother and all the assembly of Yasharal determined that from every year at that season, the days of dedication of the altar should be observed with gladness and happiness for 8 days. And we sing, righteousness being set back up again, them doing righteousness. First Maccabees 5:32. And he said to the men of his forces, fight today for your brethren. They knew this. And they were told to fight this day for your brethren. Make sure you understand what we're fighting for. Fight for your brethren. We don't fight for the rebels. We fight for the people fought for their brethren. First Maccabees 7:10. So they marched away and came with a large force into the land of Yahudah. And he sent messengers to Yahudah and his brothers with shalom, but treacherous words. So he came in speaking like he was for the people, but he wasn't. It was a trap. This is how the enemy operates. And once you study scripture, you study your enemy, you know how the enemy operates. And you know when he's for your good and when he is for your bad. First Maccabees 7:34. He mocked them and derided them and defiled them and spoke arrogantly. Now, this is what our people are doing today. Our people are speaking arrogantly against each other. Notice, they will not fit into scripture. They would fit in with the enemy. They do not fit in with the righteous. Okay, First Maccabees 9:44. And Jonathan said to those with him, let us rise up now and fight for our lives. You see, they knew. He's saying, let us rise up now and fight for our lives. For today, things are not as they were before. Things were changed. They had to fight for their lives. First Maccabees 10:21. So Jonathan put on the Kadash garments. Now, I'm going to go into this battle that's coming. I've yet gone into it, and I'm only going into scripture right now, what happened and how our people fought in scripture. But we see, and remember this, he said, put on your Kadash garments. There's a fighting garment that has to be put on. In the 7th month, on the 116th year, at the Feast of Tabernacles, and he recruited troops and equipped them with arms in abundance. They was equipped with arms in abundance. They had weapons. They was ready for battle. This is First Maccabees, 11:21. But certain lawless men who hated their nation, there was unrighteous men, wicked men, rebels. They hated Yasharal, their own nation. And they went to the king, the enemy, and reported to him that Jonathan was besieging the citadel. So we've always had rebels amongst us. They was turning and going along with the enemy. First Maccabees 13:4 and 5. By reason of this, all my brothers have perished for the sake of Yasharal, and I alone am left. He's saying all his brothers, they perished because of fighting for Yasharal, and he's left now by himself. He says, now far be it from me to spare my life in any time of distress, for I am not better than my brothers. And he's saying they died, they fought for Yasharal and died. I will do the same also. First Maccabees 16:2. And Simeon called unto his oldest son, Yahudah and John, and said unto them, I and my brothers and the house of my fathers have fought for the wars of Yasharal from our youth until this day. They and the house of my father have fought the wars of Yasharal from our youth until this day. They fought these wars from their youth, from when they were old enough to fight in the wars. They fought from their youth, he says, until this day. And things have prospered in our hands so that we have delivered Yasharal many times. So he knew, listen, the scripture says, by the works of your hand, our people don't understand this. By the works of your hand, you will do righteousness, or by the works of your hand, you will do wickedly. It's very important to make sure you understand you are doing some type of works by your hands, and it's either righteousness or wickedness. Okay, this is Josephus. This is the book 4, 3 and 10. I just want to bring a point out here. Listen at this. It says, truly, we are in love with slavery and in love with those that master over us, as if we had received that principle of subjections from our ancestry. We didn't receive this from our ancestry, but we picked it up. See, we picked up this in love with your master. It says, yet did they undergo many and great wars for the sake of Yasharal. In other words, our forefathers, they fought many and great wars for the sake of the nation, Yasharal. And I'm going to read this out of, just to let you know where our strength comes from. You have to understand, where did our strength come from? This is let you know. This is Dead Sea Scrolls, hymn 15. It says, you have strengthened me before the battles of wickedness. You see, he strengthens his people before the battle. That's why I say he's preparing his people right now before the battle. And during all their disasters, it says, you have permitted that fear should cause me to not desert your covenant. We should fear him in order and make sure we don't desert his covenant, the covenant that he had. Now, I want to show a quick clip here, just a couple minutes, and I want you to understand some of the weapons that they possess, that they have, and they are ready to use. A subscriber gave me information concerning this, and I checked it out, and they have many weapons. They have all types of weapons, but here is one, and it's called slaughter bots. And if I'm gonna leave a link for this so you can see this whole entire video, but I'm gonna just play some of it here. But this is some of the weapons that they have.
It's a big deal, but we have something much bigger. Your kids probably have one of these, right? Not quite. Hell of a pilot? No. That skill is all AI.
This is AI.
It's flying itself. Its processor can react 100 times faster than a human. The stochastic motion is an anti-sniper feature. Just like any mobile device these days, it has cameras and sensors, and just like your phones and social media apps, it does facial recognition. Inside here is 3 grams of sheep explosive. This is how it works. Did you see that? That little bang is enough to penetrate the skull and destroy the contents. They used to say guns don't kill people. People do. Well, people don't. They get emotional, disobey orders, aim high. Let's watch the weapons make the decisions. Now trust me, these were all bad guys. Now that is an airstrike of surgical precision. It's one of a range of products. Trained as a team, They can penetrate buildings, cars, trains, evade people, bullets, pretty much any countermeasure. They cannot be stopped. Now, I said this was big. Why? Because we are thinking big. Watch. A $25 million order now buys this. Enough to kill half a city. The bad half. Nuclear is obsolete. Take out your entire enemy, virtually risk-free. Just characterize him, release the swarm, and rest easy. These are available today. We have a distribution network taking orders from military, law enforcement, and specialist clients.
Now, I ask you, how in the world do our people, how do we fight against this? How can we combat against this? We're fighting each other. We're all over the earth fighting each other. How are we supposed to fight against this? You see, there will be no fight. And as Daniel said, he come to make war with the righteous, and he shall overcome them and kill them very easily after they starve and kill up themselves. He will very easily kill up and slaughter the people. Now I'm about to show you the reason, the purpose of being within his borders and our fight and our protection. How are we going to do this? All right. This is 2 Maccabees. Let me see. 2 Maccabees 3 and 24 and 25. But when he arrived at the treasury with his bodyguard. Okay, let me explain what's going on here. We have a situation where Heliodorus, he's coming to collect money or take money, and they're supposed to be doing something. He had orders from the king, and they're saying that they're doing something wicked. So he's coming in to take the money. So this is what happened. But when he arrived at the treasury with his bodyguard, he came with his bodyguard. Here they go at the treasury. There, and then there, the sovereign of Ruachs and of all authority caused so great a manifestation. There was a manifestation. There was a presence from Shamaim. There was a presence from splendor with power, might, and authority. And all who had been so bold as to accompany him were astounded by the power of Yahuah. So they was amazed at this power, and they couldn't believe it, and they became faint with terror. So you understand, when he's on the people's side, these are the things that happen. I'm showing you the manifestations of when they come to protect the Most High's people. Verse 25, for there appeared to them a magnificently compares horse with the rider of frightening. The countenance was very, very frightening, and it rushed furiously at Heliodorus and struck at him with its front hoofs. Its riders was seen to have armor and weapons of gold. We're going to see this in scripture over and over. They have armor and weapons of gold. 2 Maccabees 2, 6 through 10. And when Maccabeus and his men got the word that Lysias was besieging the stronghold. So they get the word that Lysias was besieging the stronghold. Watch, this is when they attack us. I want to make sure you understand when they do attack. They and all the people, with lamentation and tears, besought Yahuah to send a good messenger to save Yasharal. So here we see them praying to send what? Send help. They praying to send a good messenger. And Maccabees himself was the first to take arms, and he urged the others to risk their lives with help to aid their brethren. So we see Maccabees, he's the first to take up arms. He's the first to arm himself. And what are they doing? They're risking their life for the aid of their brethren. Then they eagerly rushed off together. And there, while they were still near Jerusalem, the horsemen appeared. Here's the appearance. Here's the manifestation. And their head, clothed in white, and brandished weapons of gold. They coming with weapons of gold. And they all together, Yada, the magnificent mighty one, and their strength, and they were strengthened in their heart. This is what happened. When you see the Malaks of the Most High come to help us out, the people will be strengthened, ready to assail not only men, but wild beasts or walls of iron. They advanced in battle order, having their heavenly ally. Who is our heavenly ally? The Malaks. They will be there to help the people. And I'm going to show you this in the war once we go into it. For Yahuah had favor on them. The Malaks are there to help the people. 2 Maccabees 2, 1-5. And when the Elkanah heard that Yehudis and the men were in the region of Samaria, he made plans to attack them with complete safety. All right, this is when they come to attack. This is what I was telling you. They know when to attack. They made plans to attack them with complete safety on the day of rest. They attack on the Shabbats. Our enemy was known to attack us on Shabbat. They went in the Romans went in 70 AD. They attacked on the Shabbat. And when Yasharal were compelled to follow, he said, do not destroy so savagely and barbarously, but show respect for the day which he who sees all things has honored, and kadashed above all days. He's telling them they're honoring that day. They should have respect for it. In thrice accused wretched, asked if they were a sovereign in Shamaim. So he's mocking now. Is there anyone sovereign in Shamaim who had who had commanded the keeping of the Shabbat day? And when he declared this, it is a living master himself, the sovereign of Shamaim, who ordered us to observe the seventh day. So he's telling them it was the master himself who ordered us. He replied, am I a sovereign also on earth? He had power. When they get power, it goes to their head. And I command you to take up arms and finish the king's business. Nevertheless, he did not succeed in carrying out his abominable design. So he was there to attack. Okay, 2 Maccabees 2 and 15. No, 2. The 2 Maccabees 15, 8-17. And I will not finish this. And he exhorted his men not to fear the attack of Gui, but to keep in mind the former times when help had come to them from Shamaim. So here they are about to be attacked. And he's letting them know, remember what happened in former times. And this is, we need to know what happened in former times, how he sent our people help in the time of battle, in the time of trouble. He says, and now to look for the victory which the Almighty would give them, encouraging them from the Torah and the prophets. Look where they're getting encouragement from the Torah and the prophets.